Disney, which started out as the jewel of the entertainment industry, is now dealing with a problem that was not foreseen. Bringing joy into families' homes and introducing them to innovative theme parks, Disney has become the synonym of the word magic. But the fact is that, despite all the splendid appearances, the situation begins to look somewhat shaky. Recent failed blockbusters, streaming service disappointments, and highly criticized business-related decisions have led fans and investors to doubt this previously unstable titan. But how did the company which gifted the world gems of animation such as The Lion King and Frozen get into such a weak state? Is it possible now that Disney is in decline? The above questions are rhetorical, of course, as anyone even remotely familiar with the media industry is aware that the company has been in decline for quite some time now. You'd be surprised to learn more about the untold story behind the so-called Disney's decline, which cannot be attributed to only low sales of movies or competition. But there is more than that, and it might turn the viewpoint we have of the undertaking completely. It is almost shocking to speak of Disney as in decline, and it grieves me a little to admit as much. I am positive that any of us at one time or another has been thoroughly amused by the Walt Disney creations. As children, Best Disney always had something that as children or as adults could capture our imagination. But now, the truth is clear. Disney is experiencing problems, and the signs are becoming increasingly difficult to obscure. The following 12 years, 2010 to 2019, saw one of the most successful periods in Disney history, 13 of which were record-breaking blockbusters by the company. At the same time, this appeared to be a sign of strength for Disney. It also gives a glimpse of just how much things have shifted since then. Towards the end of 2018, Disney entered a phase which might be called reverse fairy tale, beginning from 2019 with one failure after another. Of course, there have been some minor triumphs now and then, but the general pattern is self-explanatory. Disney's sparkle is wearing off. I know that the pandemic disrupted the entire film industry, but other movies, like Top Gun, Maverick, Super Mario, and recently Barbie, are among the few examples that demonstrate that even in the pandemic world, blockbusters can be made. Earlier, with the consumers who exhibited a high degree of loyalty, Disney could expect them to gather around the theater, even to watch substandard movies. But now, in a world full of exacting viewers who do not watch everything that comes in front of them and want to watch only the best, Disney deteriorates. Today, consumers have to fight tooth and nail to get that ticket to watch a movie. And unfortunately, Disney is not doing enough to convince consumers that their ticket price is justified. Let's face it, not every successful film is a masterpiece. But these days, even a mediocre movie needs something special to draw in the crowds. And this is where Disney is being exposed. Take the MCU, for example. It was Disney's biggest moneymaker for years, but even its financial returns are now on the decline. The once invincible Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't pulling in the same numbers, and it's not just because of superhero fatigue. Disney's creative choices are letting the audience down. Oh, and what about Star Wars? The franchise that once had the monopoly over the box office has not produced a film that was released in theaters for almost 5 years now. The joy, the hype that came with every new Star Wars movie faded, and now there is empty space, which Disney does not manage to occupy. It is not amounting to lack of movies to screen, but lack of vision and direction, which is adversely affecting the brand. Then there is Pixar, the studio that was once considered to be a pioneer of animated cinema and master of sentimentality. But come on, do you remember when Pixar actually created a film that was worthy of the name Pixar? To this day, we can only remember the last 5 years in which Pixar has released a movie that enthralled the global audience. And don't even get me started on Indiana Jones 5, an actual movie, the existence of which puzzled many people as the film is more a loss-making legend. Let's face the truth. Indiana Jones is a franchise that could not have failed more spectacularly despite the promising setups. Now, even Disney World, which has always been such a delight and imagination to kids, is also dwindling. Fewer people are coming to watch, and the sort of enchantment that used to attract people from different parts of the globe has disappeared. The parks are no longer the highlight of the chain, which frankly is a large issue for Disney as their emphasis is strongly on their parks. But if all that is not enough, Disney Plus is also underperforming. The streaming service through which the Mouse House planned to adapt to the new media environment is unprofitable. Worse, consumers are now watching fewer of Disney's exclusive series as time progresses. Table 1. And I could recall when Disney Plus was streaming, and I thought that's the future of entertainment. But now it is just one of the franchises owned by Disney that seems to be struggling. Part 2. The downfall of Star Wars. That was Star Wars. The name that used to inspire more respect and enthusiasm than anything has become as pathetic as it could ever possible under Disney. For instance, a simple check on Google Trends reveals that Star Wars is less popular now than it was in 2007, which saw the franchise in a quiescent period. What used to be a dominant brand, stronger than Disney, has turned into an element fully blamed for the company's current problems. It was 5 years ago when some people suggested that Disney had killed Star Wars, and it was impossible to deny such information. However, in the year 2023 now, one cannot but agree that the franchise is in a very bad state. Even today, during the heyday of big budget productions like The Mandalorian and the upcoming Ahsoka series, Star Wars seemed more relevant than it does today in the wake of the post-prequel hiatus of the 2000s. The process of decline started with The Last Jedi, which, while grossing $1.4 billion at the box office, submarined a good though unexceptional trilogy and paved the way for the disaster of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. This made Disney to suspend production of Star Wars films and instead turn to streaming content to continue the Star Wars brand. Even the seemingly promising The Mandalorian series appeared to be turning into a mine at one moment, and, indeed, it happened in the third season, which proved to be much worse than the previous ones. However, the latter series, such as prequel animation series, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and the live-action Obi-Wan Kenobi show featuring Oldman and McGregor were failures in their execution and failed to help the franchise get back on its feet. On the other hand, Andor was one of the bright shows, but its performance was poor and nobody was watching it. The only real success Disney has had with Star Wars recently has been in the realm of video games, with Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor receiving widespread acclaim. These games have kept the franchise afloat, offering compelling stories and characters that resonate with fans. However, even as Disney continues to fumble with the franchise's future, they've inexplicably decided to double down on their mistakes by announcing a new Rey movie, a move that has left many fans shaking their heads in disbelief. Part 3. Marvel's struggles post-Endgame. It is common knowledge that the franchise once regarded as Disney's showcase has been on the decline since the end of Endgame. After Endgame, the MCU sank into the loopholes of overproduction, weak narrative, and missteps when it came to the politics of representation. Among them, the lack of Tony Stark and Steve Rogers figures is a glaring problem that Disney could not solve. The more recent works of the franchise have been quite disappointing, and Secret Invasion perhaps marks another low. Although Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 was particularly successful, the film looked like it didn't belong to the franchise, further strengthening the theory that MCU is lost. Moving forward, there seems to be no foreseeable positive outlook for MCU. Subsequent films such as Echo and The Marvels have not been met with fans' anticipation. The woes do not seem to cease as the actor playing the new main antagonist, Kang, provides the MCU with legal issues. What started as Disney's cash cow is now a source of irritation and worry in the MCU. Part 4. Pixar and Animation's Decline. Pixar and Disney Animation, these two once powerhouses, have fallen to negative trajectory. The attempts to create such films as Lightyear have recently failed to find the needed audience, grossing just as much as they spent on production. These may not be on the same level with the problems suffered by Star Wars and the MCU, but they are indicative of a problem at Disney's creative system. Conclusion. This decline is a tendency in all of Disney's primary segments, which should worry the entertainment conglomerate. Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar used to be great franchises, but all have been declining lately, and the recent actions of the company are not making this any better. As Disney grapples with these challenges, the question remains, can they help revitalize the franchises and introduce them to a new generation of players? Or have they screwed these franchises over beyond repair? For those who enjoy such kind of content, you should not forget to subscribe and drop a comment. Thank you very much for watching.